So if you guys remember, it was about a year and a half ago I made this video. Why I'm not buying Fire Emblem Fates. And I stuck by what I said. I didn't buy it. I had the special edition all set, ready to go on Amazon, pre-ordered. I canceled it. Yes, I know that people will say that's stupid because it's hard to find out and blah blah blah. Here's the thing, I don't want to play Fire Emblem Fates. I don't want that game in my collection. I didn't want it because of the fact that I wasn't supporting what it was doing. If you look at the stats for my video, over 1,300 views and a lot of dislikes. A lot of people were really salty over my video. And yes, if you guys disliked that video, yes, you are being salty because you did not like my opinion and you felt like, oh, well, that means it's a bad video and he's an idiot. There's been many videos on YouTube that I've come across and I've liked them even if I disagree with them. Why? Because the video was well thought out, well made, the person presented their argument. You know what I mean? Like, when you like and dislike a video, it shouldn't be about, oh, I disagree with that. Like, that's just, it's a very single-minded way of thinking. It should be about, you know, did the person present their argument correctly? And bottom line is I did. You also look at where it says this has nothing to do with censorship either. That was the big key issue. That was the big key issue. Everyone with Fates was all up in arms over censorship. People were boycotting it over censorship. In the video, I said, I don't care about the censorship. In fact, I think some of it was rather needed here in the West. Yes, I'll go out and say it. The reason I boycotted the game was because of the DLC splitting the game up in multiple branches and just how money-hungry Nintendo was being about it. And because of that, I got disliked. Everyone said the DLC and the splitting the game up was fine, but the censorship was bad. If I had reversed my argument and made the entire video about censorship, and I said I was boycotting for censorship, those likes and dislikes would have been reversed. You know they would have been. You know they would have been. I would not have anywhere near that amount of dislikes. It's just, it's totally, I don't know, it proves my point that people have bought all the DLC for Awakening, bought the DLC for Fates, and so now they're doing it again with Echoes. As you see here, there's several different DLC packs. Now, I'm not against DLC. I do like DLC in some instances. Mario Kart 8 had amazing DLC. Zelda's getting DLC, which looks really good. I already made a video on that. But would you believe me if I told you the season pass for this is $44.99 US dollars? 45 bucks for this. That's $5 more in the game if you're just getting the base game itself, not the collector's edition. And I wouldn't be as annoyed by it if it wasn't for the fact that there's exclusive content that should have been part of the game. Like, look here, the Lost Altars pack comes out May 25th. On its own, it's $14.99. Or you can get it with that season pass for $45 with everything else. The mysterious dungeons included in this pack hold the power to upgrade characters to exclusive classes that don't appear in the main game. Upgrade characters to exclusive classes that don't appear in the main game. My issue with this is a game like Fire Emblem. It's a strategy RPG first and foremost. The class system is a big part of the game. It's one of the main parts of the game. So to put exclusive classes behind a $14.99 pack or a $45 season pass, that just is not right with me. Put it to you this way. Imagine if a more traditional Zelda game came out, not like Breath of the Wild, but more like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess or whatnot, right? And you got all your, items. You got your swords, your shields, Master Sword. You got boomerang, bow and arrow, all that stuff. Well, imagine if half of Link's mainstay items, like you look at things like the fire rod, you look at things like the hook shot, things like that. Imagine they took half of his items that you see in all the games and they made them exclusive to a $14 DLC pack, right? Wouldn't that just be kind of wrong? Because you think, back in the day, with Zelda games, we had all that content already in the game, you know? Breath of the Wild does a little bit differently because it's offering us extra content that doesn't necessarily affect the gameplay, and it's not necessarily part of Zelda. Like, you still have all your swords, all your weapons, your shields, bow and arrow. You still have the main story, all the dungeons. It's not adding anything that necessarily should have been there to begin with, you know? Imagine if Breath of the Wild, right? Imagine if the ability to ride horses was DLC. Wouldn't that be really ridiculous? That's what this feels like with Echoes for me. You can call me, a complainer. You can tell me I'm reaching or grasping at straws, but it's the truth. Really, really, really think about it. A class system is something that is highly, highly important to Fire Emblem in general. And you put exclusive classes in a DLC pack. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And like I said, on their own, like if some of these DLC packs were cheaper, I would understand it as well. But again, you're giving the exclusive class pack, the Lost Ultras pack, is the most expensive at $15 a pop on its own. Then you got the Rise of the Deliverance pack, which actually has new story content. It's a prologue pack and everything. But it's the second most expensive at $12.99. You see what I mean? We are getting an expansion of the story of Breath of the Wild with its expansion pass for $20, but we're getting so much other stuff that it's not just simple as it's just like costumes or something, but at the same time, it's not so world-changing that it's stuff that should have been in there. You know what I mean? And at the same time, it's for a modest price of $20. This is $12.99 for 4 pieces of content. And then, like I said, if you want to get the season pass, it's $45. It's just, this whole thing doesn't add up for me, and I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. Especially when you look here, the Amiibo coming out are already going to give you DLC-ish sort of content. They're going to give you exclusive dungeons. As it says here, when used in the game, these Amiibo will activate their own exclusive dungeons, allowing heroes to earn items and level up their armies further by defeating bosses. By selecting Mila's turn wheel from the menu on the overworld map, they will also be able to take advantage of their Alm and Celica Amiibo in battle. During combat, players can sacrifice a portion of Alm or Celica's health in order to summon a computer-controlled illusory hero, which will act as a temporary ally for a single turn. As Alm and Celica get stronger, their stats can be saved to their respective Amiibo, allowing their summoned unit to grow in strength alongside them. In addition, all Fire Emblem Amiibo from the Super Smash Bros. Series can be used to summon an illusory hero of that character, allowing players to seek assistance from spectral visages of Marth, Ike, Roy, Robin, Lucina, and the upcoming Corrin Amiibo. All other currently available Amiibo are also compatible and will summon an additional monster to the battleground to assist players in battle, providing some much-needed help in case of a strategic emergency. And again, that's good content because of the fact that you have Amiibo, which is a little figure, which not only is it a nice physical piece of collectible, but it's also going to work across other games. You can use these with other games like Hyrule Warriors and so on and so forth. So not only is it not relegated to just one game, but the in-game content is something that it's substantial, where it's not just like costumes like Mario Kart 8. As much as I love Mario Kart 8, their Amiibo functionality is kind of on the lower end. But still, it's not just simple like costumes. It's actually something substantial, but it's not so substantial that it's something that should have been in the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that should have been in the base game. It's something that gives you an edge. It also allows you to customize your Amiibo characters. That's cool. That's really cool. So we're already getting those, but we're also getting a $45 season pass on top of that. So if you buy the collector's edition for $60, you buy these for $24, and then you buy the season pass for $45, that's over $100 already. We are back to Fire Emblem Fates. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Let me be clear. I'm still getting the Amiibo, and I'm still getting the collector's edition. I have both of them paid off at GameStop. I wanted to cancel so bad. But the base game itself looks really good. And if you remember my other video from last year, the controversial video I made, I had said I want Fire Emblem to go back to the classic style, the classic tone of the series, not necessarily like Awakening or Fates. And Echoes is pretty much doing that. I mean, and that, it helps that it's a remake of an older game that we never got, so it is in that classic tone already. So the base game itself looks good. I buy all the amiibos that come out. Every single amiibo that comes out, I buy it, so I have to get the amiibo for my collection. The season pass, more than likely not going to get it. If anything, I may get the story pack later down the line, but I'm not paying $45. I'm not paying more than the base game for DLC. That's ridiculous. There's a lot of other games with DLC that it's not the first. I mean, it's not the game with the most expensive DLC. Obviously, if you've kept up with Dead or Alive 5 throughout the years, from Dead or Alive 5 to Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate to Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, there's literally hundreds. I'm talking hundreds of dollars of DLC, and it's just costumes. It's just. I mean, there's some extra characters too, but the majority of it is costumes. I have yet to buy a single piece of DLC for that because that's ridiculous. You know, DLC. Looks, I will definitely buy DLC if it's worth the price. Hyrule Warriors, that was worth the price. Mario Kart 8, worth the price. Breath of the Wild, worth the price. Fire Emblem Echoes, Fire Emblem Fates, even Awakening in some spots, although Awakening was a little bit more balanced, not worth it. They aren't worth it. I don't like this DLC direction they're taking Fire Emblem. I just don't. And you can tell me, oh, it's optional, you know, you don't have to get it. That's true. I don't, and I'm not. And I'm not going to keep making videos. There's going to be one video I'm making about this. But here's the thing, like I just explained. Exclusive classes and exclusive story content is being held by this DLC. DLC that is already overpriced, over $10 a piece, or more than the base game itself at $45 for the season pass. So yes, I had the choice of not to get it, but I lose out on the full content of the game. That's my point. That's what I don't like. I'm hoping the Fire Emblem game coming to Switch, I know it's going to have DLC. I know it's going to. I can't say, oh, don't have DLC. But I want the DLC to be more balanced. I want it to be more balanced. That's all I ask. And one last thing I want to talk about is this. So the Fire Emblem producer, Hitoshi Yamagami, he recently went on record and said that this will be the last mainline 3DS entry. He says mainline because we do have Fire Emblem Warriors coming out in the fall to the Switch and new 3DS. Why it's coming out to the new 3DS, I have no idea. It should be a Switch exclusive, but whatever. But as far as mainline games, this is going to be the last one, he says. It's not too weird because the 3DS, I mean, it still has a couple years left, but yes, we are in the ending years of the 3DS system, and they're going to develop more, you know, games for the Switch, and then if there's a 3DS successor, obviously, they'll make games for that. And the system that has had the most Fire Emblem games is the Super Famicom over in Japan, and as well as the Game Boy Advance. Both had 3 Fire Emblem games. So this is kind of in line with that. This will be the 3rd mainline game on the 3DS. However, the fact that they have went outright and said this, because they never said this before. They never came out, you know, when the last one on the DS came out and said, oh, this is the last one for the DS. They never did that for Game Boy Advance, you know. So the fact that they came out and said this will be the last 3DS one really sort of raises my eyebrow. And then on top of the fact that it came around the same time as the $45 season pass was announced, it makes me think like they're using it as a publicity thing to be like, oh yeah, this is the last 3DS entry, so we're going to go all out with it, so buy our shit. You know, it's like, that's what it, I guess that's how it's coming across to me. So, you know, whatever. And I think it's I mean, I don't 100% blame them. It's a really smart business practice, because if you tell people this is the last one coming out to the system, and then you announce all the content coming, it's going to get people excited and be like, oh, this is the last one. I got to get all for this game that I can. You know, it's a good business practice. It's a sleazy business practice. It's a really, to the smart consumer, you know, such as myself, and I'm pretty sure other people will see this too, it is a middle finger, you know, in my opinion. But to the casual consumer, yeah, I mean, you're going to draw them in with this, and you're going to make tons of money with this, and I think that's sad. I mean, we have succumbed so bad to the way DLC is presented nowadays, and I don't like it. So, bottom line, Fire Emblem Echoes, I'm getting the game and the Amiibo, not getting the season pass. $45 more than the base game. It's not worth it. It just is not worth it. Breath of the Wild, its $20 expansion pass is a lot more worth it. You know, if you want to debate with me and say how Echoes' season pass is worth more than Breath of the Wild's, definitely. Let's, you know, make a video response, leave a comment down below, you know, give me an actual, you know, argument. Give me an actual argument with evidence. Don't say that I'm an idiot. Don't say I'm a fanboy. If I was a fanboy, I wouldn't be calling Nintendo out on this. I do think it's a very greedy move of them. You know, don't insult me. If you literally disagree with me, don't just insult me and hit that dislike button. Give me an argument. I want to see a different side of this. I would love to see a different side of this. I want to see your guys' perspective. Give me your perspective. We'll definitely discuss it. You know, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. This is just my view of it. You know what I mean? So definitely, let me know what you guys think. And as always, I will catch you guys later.